Hi everyone and welcome to the Tormek live sharpening class. Hope everyone is well out there. In today's special episode we will be talking about the latest member of the Tormek machine family, the Tormek T-1 kitchen knife sharpener. And to help me tell you more about it, I invited Samuel, who is part of the design team behind the T-1. Welcome, Samuel.
Well, thank you. Nice to be here.
Great having you here. Before I let you tell us everything about the T1, I thought we would start a bit about the basics, and then we will go more and more into details further on in the episode. But before we go there, I want to remind you, all the viewers, that it's live, so I might make grammatical errors in English, but you also have the advantage that you can ask questions and we'll try to answer them as best as possible along the way. Great. Should we start just by seeing it? It has a more sleek design than the rest of the Tormek machine. Could you tell us a bit about the design and how you thought when you designed the machine?
First of all, you can see the resemblance, right?
Yes,
from
there is a Tormek.
Still, we wanted to make a machine that you really wanted to have on your kitchen counter, like a piece, a design piece. So that's our aim.
Yes.
And to do that, we made like a subtle industrial design feel to it with this cast zinc powder coated housing. Super solid, by the way. It weighs like 5+ kilos. And this wooden oak handle treated with hard wax oil.
And even though it's very small compared to the other machine, the 5 kilos makes it very stable. So when you sharpen, you're always very stable on the
super stable
table.
Okay, what do you want to know more? We have a diamond grinding wheel on this side, the composite honing wheel on that side, the patented guide for setting the angle. What more? Rigid, resistant plastic cover underneath.
Yeah. We have a magnet that collects dust as well.
That's a good feature. I mean,
you
don't want to dust all over your kitchen, so that's super smart. And we also have knife protection pads inside the guide to protect your knife from scratches. And
it runs quite slowly, 200 RPM, which means that you will never overheat the metal.
Right, and it's also very silent running.
Yeah, so people that perhaps are used to other sharpening machines are used to quite a bit of noise. This will be a revelation of how quiet it is when it runs.
Yeah, I sometimes forget that it's on, and I do other things in the kitchen.
I think you will
hear this. Yeah. Oh, you will not hear this.
No, exactly. Great. I thought we would be sharpening a knife in just an instant, but I saw we had a couple of questions
already
before we
Fantastic.
started, so I thought that we would give the viewers attention and answer those couple of questions rapidly. Charles is asking, he wants to buy the T1 in the UK. And he wants to know when he can buy one.
When I could not tell you, but I could tell you that we are adding on more European countries along this year. So
please be patient.
Be patient, Charles.
Great. Mac Uncle Dave say, will the T1 machine slide easily across a smooth countertop, or is it designed not to slide easily?
Good question. It has 4 rubber feet underneath, so the answer is no.
Great. Mike thinks it's a good-looking machine. Thank you, Mike. Ken, our good friend, is asking, can the rubber honing wheel of the T1 be used moistened with water like the composite wheel on the T8?
Yes, that's the same material actually, so that's perfectly nice tip for even more polishing feel and effect on your honing.
Perfect. So we move on to the sharpening. When you sharpen, there are really 3 steps. If I understood everything correctly, which I hope I have. First of all, you set the angle.
Correct.
Then you sharpen your actual knife, And finally, the honing part, which is key to get this razor sharp.
This is where the magic happens, yes.
Exactly. So can you please walk us through those 3 steps and perhaps put a bit of extra attention to the actual honing in the,
Sure.
at the end?
Let's start off with a guide. You want to set the angle, the desired angle of your kitchen knife, and that you do by moving the guide like this, and you have a scale that shows which angle to use. So in this case I use 15 degrees, which is a really average great angle to set for most kitchen knives you have there. When set at the angle, you turn the machine on. This is important. You put the knife into the clamp. We sometimes see users putting it behind the clamp, and that will scratch your knife. So put it in, all the way in. That's my tip. Don't start at the tip of the knife, and then pull the knife down towards the diamond wheel, and then you follow the shape like this, back and forth on the entire bevel. And if you use the same angle as last time you sharpened, this only takes 3-4 slides.
But if you want to change the angle, or if it's badly damaged, it can be up to 10-15 strokes even.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yes. Please be a little bit patient at that point. So, and then you want to switch side and do the same procedure. In this case, I switched hands. If you're more comfortable in using the same hand all the time, you can turn the machine instead.
Also, what we can mention perhaps is we used 15 degrees here on your knife, but you can choose angles from 8 to 22 degrees, which covers more or less all kitchen knives you have.
Right. And what happens on the grinding wheel is that you look to have a little burr on your edge here, and that should be on the entire edge, on the entire bevel here, so you can hopefully feel it.
What is burr? Because for us it's quite obvious, but perhaps people that has never sharpened knives.
Good point. Well, you work up, it's the metal grinded up on each side, the opposite side from the grinding wheel. And that's key to have that on the entire bevel. So if you haven't reached that point, you should continue sharpening.
And that's what we want to remove afterwards, right?
Exactly, that's what happens on the honing side.
The magic.
The magic. One extra tip.
Yeah.
When you're finished on both sides,
Yeah.
you can add one extra turn on the opposite side from last.
Yeah.
That gives us a little bit shorter time on the honing part.
Great.
Okay? Let's switch to the honing.
Perfect.
One important thing to mention is that you should always have the honing wheel turning away from you.
Yes. And why is that?
Well, you will cut into the honing wheel and might hurt yourself, or definitely hurt the
honing wheel.
The honing wheel itself.
And it will be more expensive because you will need to buy a new
yeah,
honing
that's
wheel.
too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so to do this, you put the knife on top of the honing wheel, and then apply it and pull it backwards a little bit. And then you hopefully can both hear and see that you're exactly on the edge. Okay? Back and forth. And here you can apply a little pressure. And that's not the case on the sharpening side. Only light pressure. Here you can put a little pressure on.
And here where we see a lot of people being too, sometimes not always hitting the bevel perfectly, but also putting too little time and too little pressure, because you need to create some friction so you really remove the burr.
Exactly. What you don't want to do is to raise it too much. You might round off the edge then.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is it, and you're done with the complete process. We had a question about moistening the honing wheel,
Yes.
right? So I can show you how that's done. You can use a sponge or a cloth or whatever and add some water. And what happens then, it gets super smooth and you get a complete different feel and also a more polishing result.
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Samuel. We had a couple of questions. We had one that I missed before. Sorry, David, but I'm getting back to you here now. I tried using the T1 with a decent chef knife, but I scratched the surface of the knife. What did I do wrong?
Well, that might be the thing that I mentioned before, that you, if I get the camera close up, that you put the knife behind the guide, then you will definitely scratch your knife, and this is wrong. So it's supposed to be inside the clamp, okay?
Perfect.
Hope that helps.
And it could perhaps also be, you have the knife protection pads there. If you have sharpened way too many knives and you have metal dust in it, it could be good to vacuum it out, because the metal dust after 20, 30 knives, if it has to be really a lot, but that can also sometimes scratch a knife. So vacuum it off like...
It takes a lot of sharpening before that happens though, so probably it's not the case in this
No,
in
not
this
to scratch
case.
it that bad. We had Charles is disappointed, he has been waiting for long. We really want to have it on all markets, but we ship everything here from our headquarters, and in the European Union it's easier, but we are working to be able to ship it even to the UK.
Oh yeah.
So we want to sell it to the UK, it's just a question of time. We have more question here. Can the T1 repair damaged, even missing, broken tip, I think?
Oh, well, I would recommend one of our other sharpening machines for this specific thing. You can change diamond wheels on the other machines. You can, if you have the original grindstone, you can change the grit, and you need to spend a lot of time with this machine.
Theoretically, you could do it, but
I wouldn't recommend it, to be honest. No.
Great, thank you. Do you have to have a cover for the machine when it's not being used?
Oh, that's a good idea, though. We haven't at this point. Thank you.
You gave marketing a new idea. Michael says, strangely, when I use the honing wheel on stainless steel kitchen knives, I seem to blunt the edge rather than improving it.
Oh.
It can sometimes be when you have knives with poor steel quality, or that is very brittle, and you have quite a small edge, it's very, very thin, and then it can fall apart. And that can happen when you hone it. So what I would recommend is to put a bit of a bigger angle, like perhaps 40 degrees in total, so 20 per side, to make sure that the tip of the bevel really stays together is a good tip. I think that might be the case, what happens. Ed is asking, you don't use any compound on the honing wheel?
No, it's integrated polish into this composite material.
Great. David is saying, I own both a T4 and a T2 and have been unable to get past best 250 on the T4, but best 150 on the T4.
Okay.
So what will the T1 do?
It will cut the tomato.
Yes, yes. And also, regarding BESS, it's complicated. We try not to use it too much because it's not at that precise of a measuring thing, because you only measure on one specific part of the knife, not the entire bevel. And also, depending on who does the test, you will score very differently. Yeah. So I think you shouldn't be staring too much on the BESS.
But just to frame this a little bit, it's the same diamond material as the T2 it has. Yeah. It's the same guide, it's the same material on the honing wheel. So I mean, it's the same process.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's similar.
Yeah.
So let's not deep into that.
No.
Deep in that.
Ken is asking, with the flat angle design of the diamond wheel, can it be used to sharpen Scandi grind knives? It's only recommended for kitchen knives.
Yep.
If you want to sharpen a Scandi grind knife that's perfect Scandi, I would go on the outside of one of the T4 or T8 instead. Then you can have a perfect flat Scandi grind.
That's recommended.
Great. We're moving on. When you receive the machine and it's brand new, is there anything I need to think about, or how do I get started? Do I need to assemble it, or?
It comes completely and fully assembled. Just
Yes.
put the cord in the socket and press play.
Off we go.
One thing to just remember is that the diamond wheel comes a little bit more coarse at first. So please allow 3 to 4 sharpenings before it comes more settled to the actual grit that we have.
Great. The jig, when it's brand new as well.
True. It actually wears down a little bit, and that's perfectly normal. So it's at the very tip of it. It should be worn down. So this will happen.
Because we want it to be as precise as possible, so it comes very close to the grinding wheel. So that's perfectly normal, as you say. Great. Yes, a question we often get asked, we haven't been asked today, but is if I want to repeat the same angle of the knife that I have, how do I know which angle I have, and how do I do that?
We have a method that we call the Tormek marker method.
Yes.
And it's easily described with coloring the bevel like this with a marker, and then set the guide to an angle that you think or believe it is, or close enough, and just make it turn into it, and then you can hopefully see if you wear down the color, you're on the exact angle.
Perfect. We love the marker method here in Tormek, and it works even on the T1.
Exactly.
Another good tip could be with the marker, if when you polish and you're not completely certain that you hit the bevel, then before you go honing, you color the bevel again to make sure that you're on your perfect angle. And when you remove the entire marker, then you know that you have polished it all the way. Small bonus tip from me here. Let's see. Good. Yes, sometimes we run into another issue. If you have this kind of heel on the knife, the jig can sometimes be, or the steering can be in the way.
Yep.
Is there any way around that, Samuel?
Yes,
How
we
do
have
solve
solved
it?
this with a solution that you can move the guide sideways. So what you want to do is that you move it in one direction to be able to, I will move it on the other, since the camera is on the other side, sorry. You move it like this, and then you reach the entire edge. And then, well, you need to do this first on one side, and then you do it on the other side.
And making sure that you stay on the same angle the whole time,
Exactly.
because you can alter the angle when you
Like
do it.
that.
Great. Maintenance. What should you think about when it comes to maintenance?
Well, we like to say that this is basically maintenance free.
Yeah.
What you might want to do is to clean the magnet from dust from time to time. That you can do with a paper cloth, or if you want to be really thorough, you can use a piece of tape.
Yeah.
And what you also want to do is that what you mentioned before, like vacuuming the. I can show you if you remove the clamp, we have the protection pads here, which collects the dust, and you might want to vacuum them or even change them. This is also a spare part, the little clamp. So if it's very much worn down, you can change it.
Perfect. We might hit that question straight away. Spare parts.
Right.
Where do I find spare parts?
How about our e-commerce, shop.tormek.com? You will find them all.
Great. The diamond wheel, sometimes you perhaps want to clean that as well with just a wet cloth or...
Yes, and if it's really clogged out, you can use acetone.
Perfect.
Is it acetone? I think it is. Even in English.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully you understand. Yeah. Otherwise we come with a correction in the commentary below. Great. We had another question here. Can you sharpen a knife with a 70-30 grind? Yes, that's no problem. You just take one angle on one side and then you change the angle and you take it from the other side.
Absolutely.
So that's no problem at all.
Easily changed with a little scale here.
Uncle Dave is asking, is there a book of instructions?
Absolutely. It's a book of instructions included in the box, and it comes in several languages. English, Swedish, German, French, Dutch, Italian, Spanish, Finnish, Norwegian and Danish.
Great.
At the moment.
And when we're done here, there will be a video of instruction as well.
Exactly.
Ken says, my larger Tormek my larger Tormeks are in my basement. My T1, yeah, my T1 lives in my kitchen. Very convenient.
Mm. I do that too. I have my T8 in the garage and the T1 on the kitchen counter all the time.
Yeah.
Can I put in a little extra tip for you?
Of course.
Since I have my on the kitchen counter all the time,
yeah.
I usually just hone from time to time.
Yeah.
Actually, before every time I cook. So then I add on a little bit extra sharpness onto my knives.
So you can really attack those tomatoes.
Yes, just use the honing wheel. I think this is fantastic, to be honest. You don't need to sharpen every day.
No, I think we mentioned in an earlier episode where we can say that sharpening you perhaps only need to do 2-3 times a year, when you can go home 10 times a year. And honing really, it has the same effect as these steel rods that you see. I
exceed 10 times a year.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah, you do it every day. It's your baby, the machine. But
true.
We have enthusiasts out there that perhaps could do it as well. Yes, filleting knife. Is there something special you need to think about?
Well, since they're very low,
yeah,
they tend to fall out of the guide. So the thing is, when you have pulled it all the way here, it might fall out since it's so thin over here. So if you do it, and it can be a little bit hard to pull it back.
Yeah.
So the tip would be to work it all the way through and then remove it, and then do it all the way again. So put it in. So another tip. What were you saying?
No, so not back and forth, but just single strokes.
Exactly, and that's a tip for everyone feeling insecure pulling it back and forth.
Yes.
So, and if you have a lot of filleting knives, or even one that's your favorite, you might want to have 2 clamps. The thing is, if you sharpen thick knives with a small angle, it wears down the clamp a lot, which makes this phenomenon happen more frequently. So to sharpen low knives on a small angle, have 2 clamps.
So if you're really thorough, you can have a filleting knife clamp and a thick knife clamp, depending on the knives you sharpen.
Yes.
Great. The clamp takes knives up till 60 millimeters of height.
Right.
If I have an even higher knife, or for example, a cleaver, do we have a solution? Because I mean here. I brought the worst, biggest cleaver.
That's some cleaver.
Yes.
Yes, what we do is that we remove the clamp, which gives us a possibility to use the guide as a support. Still set the angle as before, and then you can just use the support like this.
Perfect. So, and then you have no limitations in height, even.
Not really. This might be the worst.
And it's a bit less stable than with the clamp on, but it's still very stable.
I would say that, yes.
Great. Mike has a question here. Is there any care required to the honing wheel?
Well, if you use this a lot, which I do, it tends a little while to be very smooth.
Yeah.
What I recommend to do is use sanded paper, sandpaper, just to rug it up a little bit, and then you're good to go.
Okay, great. He also asks, how do you know when to replace the honing wheel?
Oh, that you will be a serious user to wear the honing wheel down.
Not even Samuel is wearing it. I
haven't got that, but yeah. Well, when it's not any material left.
No.
I guess.
Yeah. So there is no due date.
It's solid. So it's the same material all the way through
to the center. Rant Contour is asking, how often should we sharpen and hone the knives? You hone it every day, but
honing you can do as often as you like. Sharpening, well, that's depending on your wish. If you, and also the use of knife. When you feel the knife is not sharp enough, sharpen it. And the thing is, you can sharpen often with this method because we wear down so little material each time. So it's not really a risk of wearing the knife down.
No. And also, as you say, it depends on a lot of different variables, how the quality of the knife, how hard the steel is, if you cut into bones in meat, or if you cut tomatoes every day. The usage of the knife varies
as long as you don't change the angle. The same angle from time to time, you can sharpen quite often, really.
Great. I think we covered most of the things I wanted to cover today. Have you something?
No more questions there?
No, there are. I think we answered most of the questions, hopefully. Do you have anything else you feel that we have missed?
Well, don't forget to register your machine when you bought it. You get 3 extra years of warranty.
Yeah, and
from 5 to 8.
Yeah, so there we missed something. 8-year warranty on the machine.
Exactly.
If you want to know more, everything you can read on tormek.com. There are instruction videos, getting started videos, more basics about the machine, where you can buy it, etc.
Of course.
Also, if you are not seeing this live, or if you feel that we haven't answered your question properly, please ask questions in the commentary and we will answer them afterwards.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Samuel.
Thank you.
Pleasure doing this with you. Yeah, it was fun. And I think it shines through that you really like your baby.
We do.
Yes.
And we know that the users that have bought this during the year is also very happy.
Great. And a big thank you to you, all the viewers. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope if you have a T1 that you appreciate it, and don't hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. Thanks for watching, and until next time.
Bye.